The open source. What is open source? An open source is a kind of free software. It is different from other software because the source code is available to everyone. Um, it is free, accessed, and can be accessed over time. And openness, it is not closed. It can be reused or changed, and it can be placed or changed by everyone. As I think, open source versus closed source. Open source view can be view modify the source code of an application or software. Open source software is released to the development community and undergoes a secondary phase of evolution. But closed source software is developed in isolation with small team of developers. Developer support and large community to help. Open source is more secure, bug and vulnerable as are fixed often. Criteria for open source, um, source code. These are source code, derived works, free redistribution, distribution of license, integrity of the author source code. License must not restrict other software, no discrimination against persons or groups, and no discrimination against field or endeavor. Then the history of open source, the concept of free sharing of technological information existed actually long before computers. Similar to open standards, researchers with access to advanced research project agency networks called ARPANET used a process called request for comments, develop telecommunications networks protocols, which led to the birth of the internet in 1969. The term open source was adapted by a group of people held at Palo Alto in California. Open Source Summit, organized in April 1998 by technology publisher Tim O'Reilly. And this is, you can see from the next slide here, you can open source how it works. So you have developers and then going compile program of source code and then going to user uses the code and write it. Also on the next slides, open source development models. You can see like there's someone leads the project, has an idea, publish it, and everyone, all the people online they can change it. So the advantage of open source, it is available to everyone. I mean, source code to understand and learn from, and they do not have to reinvest it. Also, everyone is free as they have freedom, and it does not depend on vendor. Can They can choose additional support, can fix bugs, and adapt to changing requirement as well as technology. And quality and customizability in open source is better, and the cost is much less than proprietary counterparts. However, the disadvantage of cloud open source is not it is not generally straightforward to use and require a certain learning curve to use it and get accustomed. It compatibility issues with software and hardware, and it has bad codes and some unique qualified people who use it. Software quality assurance process is widely not transparent, and there's no financial incentives. So the next slide, this is an example of open source like application like 7-Zip, Chromium, Blender, Mozilla Firefox, OpenOffice. These are very famous. So and for the operating system should be Linux, Android, Haiku, and programming language. There's many different as well. Example, and these are the examples of open source server software. From like famous WordPress should be familiar, Java, Joomla maybe. Yeah. Next slide. There's open source digital content, like we have the Wikipedia Foundation. Wikipedia is owned and operated by Wikimedia Foundation, a non-profit foundation dedicated to bringing free content to the world of world's Wikipedia project. Yeah. So all of these owned by this organization, this company, Wikimedia Foundation. Also, yeah. Next one, more example, and this is Android, like Android. It actually use Linux-based operating system, but most people probably don't know it. And Android is open source, and Google released the code under the Apple license after acquiring it from Android. So, and it's the most widely used mobile platform with over 700,000 apps in Google Play Store, over 25 billion app download with 750 million devices running on Android. So it's a lot. And then the next slide is about Linux. Linux is a computer operating system assembled under the model of free and open source software development distribution, originated in the GNU project, initiated in 1983 by Richard Stallman. So, and in the Free Software Foundation. Yeah. Then the next slide is about these are some other examples of open source Office software. We have the Open Office, LibreOffice, NeoOffice, Coffice, you probably don't know. And then let's jump to the license and copyright. There are hundreds of different licenses. Author chooses to license under license, bringing open source freedom. Some are easy to compete with, but some licenses are more difficult to comply with, such as GNU GPL says that you can only use GPL code if modified code is also released under GPL. Yeah. Yeah, this is just another example. And there's a news about it, about open resource. It is FOSS means free and open source software. It is free, reliable, and supported. Making a software open source, anyone can change it. The open source license is too liberal. So if you make your software open source, volunteer coders will fix all of your problems for free. And in conclusion, for this PowerPoint, a common platform for sharing ideas and putting them into action by developers or the other people who wish to improve a product software. We are in the open source revolution where people collaborate to create, produce software or technology. Based upon the key advantages of open source technology, we can finally conclude that open source deserves the increase in popularity. And that's it. Thanks for listening.